things will pop up and it will happen, and then just deal with it and move on. And if you make a mistake, try and learn from it and try not to do it the next time. And that's how you learn and grow and become bigger and better and stronger. Welcome back to the S Factor. My name is Nicki Van Ingen Schenau and I run a tour guide business. My success factor is my perseverance and my strength.
Hello, Nicki.
Hi.
Welcome to the S Factor. Thank you for joining us all the way from Amsterdam. We really appreciate it. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So it's a very fascinating story with you, how you went about actually founding your own touring agency
Yes.
in Japan. So
Yep.
let's get started with the story. So let's start with your time in Japan, 2011, when you first moved there. How was it? What made you start your own business?
Well, I came in 2011 after the tsunami. The tsunami was in March and I arrived in November. So you could still see the ramifications of the earthquake and tsunami when I first arrived. And I never gave it a lot of thought. I came as a trailing wife. My husband at the time was Japanese. So I just assumed that with my English abilities and my work experience and my bachelor's degree in economics, it would be easy to find a job. And if not, I would just go and work at the embassy. So that was my first instinct, to just apply at other companies. So send out like 10 application letters a day, and I kept getting rejections, or people would invite me and ask me, so how's your Japanese? Non-existent. So I would get a lot of, oh, we'll call you, definitely, and then never hear from them again. So after doing that for like 3 months, I decided, well, this isn't working. Let's just focus on studying Japanese full time, 9 to 5. Then after 1 year, I must be fluent if I put in all that effort. And then 2.5 years later, I still wasn't fluent. So yeah, about 2 years later, in the spring of 2013, a friend of mine who's a flight attendant came to Tokyo, and I was showing her around. And I have one of those memories, if I hear something that is interesting, it just gets stuck in my head. So I was telling her all these funny background stories and stuff that I'd heard about Japanese culture and everything. So I was complaining to her, like, oh, it's impossible to find a job and I'm still not fluent in Japanese, and having like a bitch fest. And then she said, well, what about becoming a tour guide? And I said, well, tour guide? My background is in marketing and communications and economics. I know nothing about being a tour guide. I have no network there. I've never even had my own company. How would I even go about doing that? And she said, well, if you're serious, I will help you. And just create the website and make sure you have an email address, and I'll take care of the rest. So I thought, oh, this is one of those cases when people say, yeah, for sure, I will help you. And then you never hear from them again. But to be on the safe side, I created the website and the email address and had absolutely zero expectations. And then after 1 week, I got an email like, I'm coming to Tokyo. I heard you do tours and I would like to book a tour with you. So I was really dumbfounded, like, oh my God, I was so not expecting that. And I hadn't prepared anything other than the website and the email address. So I was just scrambling and getting prepared, because when you ask people money for showing them around, it's different than just showing friends around. So I was like, yeah, it has to be really good, and it has to be value for money, and I have to bring them to places that they wouldn't normally go. So I was really doing all the research and memorizing all the dates and all the names, and to make sure that I was well prepared for when my first guests arrived. And basically, that's how I got started. So then straight away, I went to the Chamber of Commerce in Tokyo and got the company registered, and took care of all of that. And yeah, that is how I founded my company, by accident, actually.
Excellent. And you know what? Some of the best companies in the world were founded by accident. So no different there. So how did you sort of scale up the business in the first 2 to 3 years?
Well, in the first 2 to 3 years, I started out more like on a budget level. Because I was not confident in my own skills, and I felt like, well, my clients shouldn't suffer due to the fact that I'm still trying this out, and I don't know where this is going, and if this is going to be a regular thing. So I started off with a very low price, and then I was just flooded with requests because my price was so low, and everyone was like, yeah, of course I'm going to book a tour with her. It would be crazy not to. And then after a couple of months, so I started in March, and then in June of the same year, a girl, she emailed me and she said, oh yeah, I saw your website and I see that you offer guided tours. Would you consider hiring me? And then I thought, no, not really. I never considered hiring people, but to be honest, it would be nice to have a day off occasionally, and maybe we can do like a commission type thing, and I could earn some money while other people are working. So that got me thinking, and I was like, yeah, that works out well. So she was my first hire after just a few months. And then I was like, well, maybe I should branch out and contact some travel agents to tell them what kind of product I'm offering or what service, and see if they might be interested in working with me. And especially through the travel agents, I got a lot of other requests as well. Like, oh, do you know someone in Kyoto? And you know someone in Osaka? And you know someone here and there? And can you do that and that? So then I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to expand my network. And I started hiring more people and gathering them to my network. And that is basically how I scaled up. So it wasn't a conscious decision. It was more like I got flooded with requests and I was like, oh, I need more people. I can't handle it.
Excellent. So as you were building this business, right? And what would you say was the peak of your business? Which year was it? How many people you had working for you? Approximately how many tours were you guys providing to your clients? That kind of thing.
Well, the peak definitely would have been 2020. So we actually had to say no to people for 2020. Because usually people, when they come to Japan, I mean, some of them will book last minute for a guide, but usually they take at least a year to plan everything in advance, from the flight, the hotel, to the tour guide. So we were already fully booked, and we had like 10 guides working every day. And we were around about 50, 60 guides at that point in the whole network. And then January came. Usually December, January, February is the low season. So we still get some tours, but not daily. And so yeah, January, February, Japan closed for Korea and for China. So I saw that as an opportunity, like, oh my God, that's amazing. That means that our clients can just see everything without all of the throngs of tours everywhere. And then March came and it was like, no, Japan is closed for everyone.
Yep. The pandemic definitely put the brakes on a lot of businesses, a lot of plans, a lot of things, right? So, in terms of your customer profile, were most of your customer tourists or were they also locals who are traveling within Japan?
Well, sometimes we would have some expats. For instance, we have this ghost tour that is all about. There's a lot of folklore in Japan about Japanese ghosts and ghouls and all kinds of like interesting stories that are around this topic. People who like horror movies will probably know that Japan is very famous for horrors. So we have this special tour, and that is one of the most popular tours among locals because they usually don't want to do the sightseeing, but they are definitely, especially around Halloween, interested in our ghost tour.
Yeah, I think that's one tour my wife would have taken, not me. She's a big fan of horror. So, speaking of that, like, how did you stand out from your competition? Because I'm sure there were other competitors in your space who were offering similar kind of tours. So, how did you stand out?
Well, actually, it is even worse. There are competitors actively advertising with our name just so they if someone googles Tokiotours, then other competitors will have ads with using our brand name. But so yeah, we're definitely very popular. But how I stand out, well, actually straight away when I started, I felt that my business should be client based. So although I offer a lot of different products on the website, different tours, one thing I always told my guides, everything is customizable. So always make sure that you know what your client wants. So I always recommend them to have like a 15-minute chat before starting the tour to make sure that the expectations are aligned, because people don't read. So often they will book a tour and then they're like, oh yeah, what are we going to do today? And they didn't really go through what they didn't really pay much attention to what they booked. So I always tell them, take the 15 minutes, because after the tour is done and then they have complaints, then there's no way to fix it. So if at the beginning of the day you are sure, like, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to have for lunch, do you have any special requests, anything? So at least then I have the opportunity to make some last minute changes. And also during the booking process, we have lots of different guides, not just people that speak different languages, but also I try to attract guides with a different kind of background. So some of them will be very knowledgeable about anime or manga or history or art or architecture or flora and fauna. So everyone has their own specialty, or some of them are very like family oriented, great with kids. They know all the best places that kids or teenagers want to go. So even at the pre-booking stage, we try to match the right client with the right guide. And then on the day of the tour, we try to make sure that we are meeting their expectations, and if not, make some changes. So yeah, making sure that the customer comes first is our most strongly held belief.
Awesome. So client service, obviously one of the keys to your success.
Yes.
I wanted to know a little bit about marketing. Like, what are some of the channels that you used for marketing?
Well, obviously, as soon as I started the business, I made sure that all the handles for Tokiotours were reserved for me. So that was obviously YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and later TikTok and LinkedIn. And there was another platform, I forgot the name, but it's bankrupt already, so it's not a thing anymore. But in any case, I mean, at first, when I first started the business, I got so many requests that dealing with the social media channels wasn't really a thing. Because it wasn't really necessary. But then when 2020 came and I basically had nothing to do, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to put some extra effort in it. And I started a couple of Facebook groups around Japan. So I started the Japan group, a Japan travel group, and another Dutch group for traveling to Japan. And instead of posting a few times a week, I started posting every 2 hours, and to create engaging content, because people get bored easily. So you need to spice it up, and it has to be something different every time and attention grabbing. So I put a lot of effort in building out my social media channels, and also on LinkedIn to connect with people that I thought were interesting and ask them to follow my LinkedIn business page. So I have around 2,500 people on my LinkedIn page who follow my content daily, and on Facebook more than 30,000, and Instagram around 20,000 now.
Awesome. Those are very impressive numbers indeed. Now, this is what we know a little bit about Japan. That we know Japan is unlike North America and Europe, we know Japan is a rather closed society, right? Mm-hmm. So as a foreigner, when you own and run your own business, what are some of the challenges that you faced?
Well, being a woman and foreigner, second, is already a disadvantage, because the average age in Japan is around 50, and it's mostly just guys who handle everything. So being a woman, that is already a disadvantage. And then also being a foreigner, that is another disadvantage. So it also came a bit with trial and error. Like, for instance, Japanese people don't do discounts ever. So at first people said, oh, can you help with hotels and flights and maybe restaurant bookings? So I tried that for a while, and it means a lot of extra fuss, and there's no gain, because Japanese people will just not give you any kind of commission, and if it goes wrong, then you are at fault. So a lot of risk for reputation damage and very little reward. So quite early on, I was like, no, I'm not going to get involved with that. I have a few people that I can contact, and that I can give information to, if there are people that want that kind of thing. And I'll try to get some commission from them, but I'm not going to get involved myself, because it's just not worth the hassle. So you need to know, what do you excel at? Where are the opportunities at? And don't let any setbacks get in your way, and also try not to overthink it, because you can never plan everything in advance, and things will pop up and it will happen, and then just deal with it and move on. And if you make a mistake, try and learn from it and try not to do it the next time. And that's how you learn and grow and become bigger and better and stronger.
Excellent words of advice, especially because you went into a very foreign culture. You built a business which was a 6-figure success story, right? So the thing is that it's really remarkable, some of the things you have done. So speaking of Tokiotours, what are some of your future plans?
Well, actually, I am writing a book about my experience in Japan. It's called 10 Years in Tokyo. So it's all about how I met my husband, how I came to Japan, how I started the business. And interlaced with all these interesting facts about Japan and cultural things that I ran into that are that you cannot experience anywhere else. So that's what I'm working on, and I'm also starting another business because through Tokiotours I also have received a lot of requests over the years from businesses who are like, oh yeah, we want to explore the fashion market, or like business attire or streetwear, or we're interested in how Japanese bake bread, or want to go to koi breeder, all these kinds of things. So over the years, I've helped a lot of businesses with consulting and to explore the market and to network. And this year I felt maybe I should separate the two. So I have Tokiotours that is solely focused on the guided tours. And now I started a new company. It has a Dutch name. It's called 𝗔𝗕𝗢𝗨𝗧. That basically means explore Japan. And that is mostly focused on market exploration and business consulting. And I'm primarily focusing on the Dutch market right now. That's why I chose the Dutch name for it.
Awesome. I wish you all the best with all your business ventures in the future. Now, Nicki, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Well, they can always email me. My email address is Nicki, Nicki, @Tokiotours, and Tokyo is spelled the Dutch way, so Tokio, not a Y, and then tours, TOURS.com. So Nicki@Tokiotours.com, or you can just find me anywhere. TripAdvisor, Google, just type in Tokiotours, or Facebook or Instagram. I will reply within 24 hours, or my business partner will.
Excellent. And all those links will be in the description below. So definitely check those out. And if anyone is going to visit Japan anytime soon, I highly recommend checking out her website and perhaps, getting a tour from this particular company. Excellent. Nicki, thank you again for your time, and I wish you all the best.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing the end results.